Okay, so I'm going to go through how to do a post-production dolly zoom, and this is where the footage you start with is a push-in. I got some push-in footage of my mum. I used a skateboard with the iPad on the tabletop just to get the push-in. So here's my Premiere layout, and I'm going to import some media. There's my footage, and I've got a sound effect I'm going to put on as well. The important thing to remember when doing this is because you're going to scale the footage up a lot, you're going to zoom in effect into the footage. You need to be shooting at high resolution and editing in lower resolution. So I've shot at 4K and I'm going to edit in 1080. So if I get a new sequence by right clicking new sequence, then I don't want that array one. I'm just going to use just HDV 1080p. I'm using 30 frames a second because that's what my iPad shoots at, so I might as well edit in the same kind of way that the film was shot, or the footage was shot. So there's my sequence, and now I'm going to put in the dolly skate footage. I'll zoom into that. Now it's doing this because it's worried that the footage is 4K but the sequence is 1080, so I'm just going to keep existing settings and then using that bar I'm going to zoom into that footage so we know what we're dealing with. First thing, because I'm not going to use the sound, I'm going to unlink the clips and get rid of the sound. Anything to reduce processor power because this computer's fairly weak. Now you can see the footage is framed really badly, so if I right click just to show the original, I'm going to make it scale to frame size. I'll just show you what the original is like. Okay, so this is the footage as it was recorded using the iPad on top of a skateboard and my mum just standing by the kind of back door there. So I did a forward and a backwards. There's a couple of bumps because the table isn't really that smooth, but I just thought there's no point in correcting all that. Okay, so we're just going to do the push-in section of it first. So first thing I want to do is to trim this clip down to just the footage we want to use. So double click, up it comes in a window, and I can use this window to trim it down. So we're going to go from probably somewhere there and set the in point. And let's get to where it stops again. You also notice the footage is a bit dark. I tried to do some lighting. You'll see that in the photograph that I provided. There's a roughly good out point. Yeah, the footage is dark. I'm not going to do anything about brightening that up because that's not the point of this tutorial. Okay, so there's our clip. Let's just do that out. Okay, and now we're going to do our dolly zoom. So what we need to do first is to go somewhere towards the end of the clip to our kind of somewhere roughly near the end frame. So I'll pick that one. This you can change this later on if you want. I'm going to go to the Effect Controls tab. Might not be in the same position on your machine, but it'll be around. If you can't find it, you'll usually find it by clicking the two arrows here, and it'll be in a list. It might be down here on these two arrows, but they are for showing you which tab you're working on now and what you can see in there. I'm going to have to undo now the scale to frame size. I want it to go back to its 4K original, and I now need to just resize this so that I'm happy with the size, the position and all that kind of stuff. I'll go up a little bit. I'm going to take mine to 70%. Let's get the subject in and let's get it lined up more centrally. So that's the end frame. That'll do now for composition wise. Now I'm going to take two guidelines, okay, and I'm going to bring them down, because what I want to try and do in terms of the kind of the size is to match up the beginning and the end frame. So that's just somewhere near the top of her head. We get another one into the side on the edge of her hair there. Okay, and we'll use those guides when we zoom back to the beginning. Now I'm going to use set keyframes for position and scale, and you'll see the keyframes are here. So that's where we're going to end up. Now I'm going to scrub back here to the start of the effect, and basically what I want to do is to match my mum basically to those end keyframes. So using scale and position, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that we're there, and then I'm going to change the ups and the down bits. This doesn't have to be exact, but if you'd like it to be exact, then you can spend a bit more time tweaking this. These arrows here take you to the next keyframe, so let's just compare the end. Yeah, that's good enough, and that is pretty much the effect. So now I'll render into out, and now you'll see that our simple push in on the tabletop has now become an effective dolly zoom.